We've added all kinds of support around the classroom to help support what a teacher faces every day as we look at the social emotional challenges that our students face post-COVID. We also have been able to expand opportunities, and I could be here all night explaining them, so I won't go into all of them, but experiences that open up the world, the whole wide world to our students, that allow them to learn beyond the walls of the school and to get real world experience. And especially in the high school, we put a lot of investment in this by adding the Teacher Academy, by adding IT, which is a program that we collaborate with the University of Cincinnati to bring real world IT experiences and get them a leg up into their college experience. And many, many more through our CBL experiences. Those are, just generically speaking, opportunities for our students to be able to leave during the school day and dabble in a career, learn through mentors, and to be able to see how the learning in their school classroom connects to what they might do in their future. So lots and lots of expansions there. And finally, we've been able to support our staff in new and different ways. We've provided a wellness program for our staff. They've gotten access to our healthplex. We have wellness champions in every single school that really champions the well-being and health of our staff, because we want to work really hard to retain them here so we can have the very best version of educators in front of our students every single day. And we've also been able to improve our data systems and our communication systems, trying to improve how we connect with you, how well we know your student, because our goal in West Clermont is to make this very big place feel smaller by knowing our students' names, by knowing their strengths, by knowing their needs and their interests and responding to them. And what has all these investments done? These investments from the general fund, from our federal funding dollars, and from grant money, we've been able to add safety, SROs, equipment in all of our schools to keep us safer. And what has this yielded? It has yielded a lot of progress and a lot of success. On our state report card, we moved from 3 stars to 4 stars. That's from like a C to a B kind of equivalency in the last year. We've been able to be recognized at the high school 2 years in a row as pace setters. So this is a national award that shows that they are setting the pace for innovative, different kinds of practices in the high school, and are being recognized at a national level. Our sports teams have been recognized for having leadership and sportsmanship on the courts and on the fields. We've been recognized as Purple Star schools in that we are supportive of military families. Our PBIS, which is our behavior support systems, our schools are getting bronze and silver awards, and they continue to work up the ring, and every year they advance and get more recognition because they're creating the kinds of environments that we want to make sure our kids have, which is a welcoming environment with really clear expectations and high bars for all of our students. We have 5 stars in our preschool. That means we have hit the highest level you could hit for preschool in the step up to quality. And finally, I'll use this one, the Appalachian Children Coalition. It's not an award we've gotten, but it's kind of symbolic of the kinds of things that are happening for us in West Clermont. This organization, because of the work that we've been doing around wellness and student well-being, has selected us as their first school partnership. And they want to be able to do some things here that bring resources to our families and to our students that sets us apart from other school systems. And they've chosen us as that school because we are primed and ready to kind of take the well-being focus in our schools to the next level. And they see us as some people who kind of have our act together on that and who are very dedicated to reaching and teaching the whole child. And so I just wanted to point that out, as we are being recognized by national organizations and local organizations who want to be part of our team and who want to work with us. And then this is a lot of data I won't go into, but what I want you to point out and see are the arrows going up. You're seeing we are surpassing where we've been in our performance by double digits. You're seeing we are surpassing the state average. So really good things are happening in West Clermont. You're seeing it in the results. More kids are reading, more kids are thinking mathematically, thinking critically, and they are truly developing the skills of Portrait of a Graduate that we dream happens for every single kid, no matter what their pathway in life. Because we are a school system that truly values meeting the kid where they are and taking them to that next level. And you can see that this is just the beginning. And just look at us now, after just a few investments that I mentioned earlier, what good can come out of really focusing and really investing in our students and our staff, the good that can come in a very short time. So we're very proud of that, and I just want to share that with you tonight before we get started. And what, right before I turn it over to the table, what I want you to know is that before you leave tonight, you'll have learned a lot about what's going on in our school district, and you'll also know very clearly what we need from you next. There will be a strong call to action at the end of this meeting because this is just the beginning of some really exciting work for West Clermont. So this time, I will turn it over to our fearless leaders, the amazing principals of West Clermont School District, and we'll take turns. You guys will do some table work, and then you'll pay attention to us up here. And then you'll do some table work, and then we'll come back up here. So take it away, principals.
All right. Facilitators, go into your packets and get those out. Select your note taker, and you can go ahead and start on the first two questions. Tonight is an interactive event. Interactive, which means we want your voice, we want to hear you, and we're going to get right into some of the questions right now. Facilitators, go ahead, introduce yourself if they don't know who you are. And we will go. We've got 20 minutes to get through 2 questions.
Yeah, that was a gallop through the normal.
Yeah, we're almost
You got the timer. 20 minutes. Timer? Yep, he's got it. I need a card. So now it's 1950.
Just a reminder, facilitators, you have your data packets that have some of the slides that Mrs. Hunter just went over. You can get those out as well.
Did you leave your group? Did you leave your group?
Yes,
most of us are on the second question. As we get through that, we'll be moving on with our program. About a 2-minute warning. We're ahead of schedule. 2-minute warning. We'll also be on the second question, please.
Well, the first one is purpose and design.
You got each of those little, each of the feet. Yeah, bring your attention to it.
I had him change.
That was my biggest thing in fourth grade.
About 18 seconds finished up. We're going to be moving on.
What's that sound? We like that. We like that.
You like that song?
I think did you like it? I like it.
All right, if I can have your attention. I know with activities, it's hard to bring everybody back. But here we go. Let me introduce Mrs. Ellie Preston for our next part. I promise she's standing here next to me.
Story of my life. So you should have in front of you, I'll just call attention, when I'm finished then you'll be working with these materials, but you should have at your table like a large one-pager. We sort of think, if any of you have infants, that the middle graphic looks a little like those teething rings that you can put in the freezer and then your kid can just kind of gnaw on them and drool. Thankfully I'm out of the teething ring stage these days. But we want to shift to, Natasha spoke a little bit about one of the things that we're going to talk about today is what components really make up a modern learning environment. We know as a district, we have to think about, and our Citizens Advisory Commission this year is really focused on learning more about what is the purpose and design of schools. What do we in West Clermont want from our schools so that we can ensure that the learning that takes place within our district is the very best and aligned to ensure that we meet the needs of our students and that all students are able to deliver on our portrait of a graduate. And so I'm going to share a little bit with you about what research has to say about what those necessary components are within a modern learning environment. You know, when we think about the purpose and design of school, the picture on the left is like a picture of a school from like back in the day. But if you look at many of our classrooms today, they don't look very different from one another. And so as a school system, we really have to continue to wrestle with what should a modern learning environment look like, both in terms of the structures, the furniture, the learning environment itself, as well as the instruction that takes place within our schools as well. So what we want to share with you today is kind of a compilation of what the best and the brightest out there have to say about what conditions need to be present within a modern learning environment, and in order to ensure that we really have all the conditions kind of working in synergy with one another to fully equip our staff and our students with all that they need to deliver on our portrait of a graduate. It's not just so that we can have like fancy buildings, but it's really so that we can ensure that the learning that takes place within our schools is the very best. So what I will say to you is at the heart of all of these things is a need for us to continue to find ways to be flexible, to be agile, to be interconnected, to be able to be adaptive to all the needs that come about for our students and staff. And so one of those components is thinking about the physical structures within a building. And that's looking at the multi-purpose uses of space as we think about classrooms, as we think about performance spaces, as we think about meeting spaces, needs of students like sensory rooms or health rooms, all of the things, all of the ways that we need to ensure that there is space for a lot of different variety and multi-purpose uses within a building. It's not just about needing to have classrooms and that's it, but we know that at the heart of schools, that schools are the hearts of communities, and both during the day and beyond, we need to ensure that the physical structures are really aligned with the needs of students, staff, and communities. One of the other components of a modern learning environment is thinking about the learning that happens beyond the walls of the classroom. So whether it's a playground and ensuring that our playgrounds are equipped so that all students can fully participate in recess or physical activities, thinking about the opportunities for outdoor learning environment, for extended learning areas, whether it be in hallways or outside of schools, for us to think about community spaces, field trips, all of the things that happen beyond just the walls of a classroom. Those are all really critical components within a modern learning environment. The classroom itself and how a classroom is laid out and designed, really needing to ensure that technology and furniture and the layout of the room allows for those agile and flexible uses within the classroom. And that as the needs of learning change, both within a particular lesson or over the course of a week, that the room can be configured and reconfigured to meet the needs of students and staff. So it might be that one day you need to have things set up for a small group. You might need to then very quickly transition to something that's whole group, or to have spaces where small groups of students could be meeting and working together, but that the classroom layout and design really lends itself to the flexible and kind of adaptable change of space as the needs of students require it. Teaching for deeper learning. This is something that as we continue to think about our portrait of a graduate and how can we deliver on that for all students, we continue to think about how do we seamlessly integrate rigorous academic content with those durable skills, with those portrait of a graduate outcomes, to ensure that all students are able to really engage in deep learning experiences. And how do our learning environments really enhance our opportunity to deliver on that? The building systems. So right now I'm sort of like presenting in the dark. So things like lighting and HVAC, electrical systems, all of the kind of inner workings that really do that are necessary components to a school being able to meet the needs of modern learners. Universal design. How do we ensure that all students, whether they have, depending on whatever their needs are, that they're able to fully participate and engage in learning? That ADA compliances are met and exceeded in each of our buildings, and that all students are really able to engage in learning is really important. Furniture, equipment, and technology. If we look at these tables, they're not real easy to move and to adjust. And we had a meeting earlier today in the media center before this. And those tables are even more difficult to move. And so really thinking about how can we, within a modern learning environment, configure, reconfigure, ensure that all students can have access to connectivity, that they can be able to leverage technology that is interactive, that allows for various audio-visual components, whether it might be virtual reality or document cameras, interactive whiteboards, etc., that really allows for that flexible, agile, and adaptable use of space. So, I'm finished with my part, and we're going to turn it back over to the buildings. What you need to be looking at now is both the one-pager that I just shared, as well as your one-pager that you have for your building. Each table should have a one-pager, each person should have a one-pager that kind of hits the highlights of your building. And the principals will kind of lead you through an activity now where, through the lens of a modern learning environment, you're going to kind of analyze your particular building to see how it stacks up.
You got about 10.
I am not old, and I used to do a job. Just to say. If it succeeds, means or does Oh, well,
We're about 5 minutes in. If you haven't written anything down, you're behind. We're going to keep moving. Please make sure you rate those spaces, compare it to a modern learning environment.
Move it up to 5. Or a little forward.
Jeff Parker, I'm one of the architects.
Hi, Larry Bree.
Larry, what's your role here?
I'm the director of technology.
Oh, okay, great.
Yep. Glad to have you, absolutely. Yeah, I heard your name when I was in the interviews when we did.
Okay, yeah.
And I heard your name, but you were off
Yeah,
the
I was out of town, yeah. Great, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah,
Thanks
look,
for having
we're excited to have you. Thank you.
We got about 2 minutes. You guys need me to add time? How we doing?
I'll talk about mine then. Formal introduction.
There we go. A lot of great dialogue, and I know it's hard to go, come back, but we're going to move on to the next part of this. And this kind of goes into our current realities. The current realities are ages of our buildings and our enrollment. How many people still say the high school, the new high school, when you refer to the high school, say the new high school? How many people do? So do I. I was here in the last 6 months when they started building it, or ending it, and I still call it the new high school. So when you think about the high school, it's about 2015 when it started. How many of you are still driving a car that you were driving in 2015? Do you still refer to that as new? Have you had any problems with that car since 2015? So operational cost for that new high school is still there. And so some of the things that you're going to see as we go through this with the current realities of our buildings is that we still think they're new, but the operational cost is quite high. And so you're going to see some of the data. And so on the next part of this, if you go to your data packets, facilitators, you'll see this one in there, as well as Dr. Foltz. What I will say about this with our facilities, we know we have some new buildings. Sort of new buildings that are very, very good buildings. We have a high school that we're very, very proud of. And we should be proud of the facilities that we do have. But we also have spills in our facility all the time. Sorry. And so we have very good floors in these old buildings. So one of the things about our facilities is that part of our district we have newer buildings, and part of the district we know we have some challenges. But one of the things about the challenges in these buildings that we are achieving, as Mrs. Adams said, we're very, very fortunate to have the staff that we have. We do a Gallup survey every year, or we started last year, and one of the things about the Gallup survey is how our staff feels about how things are going. And I'm happy to report that the last one that just came out, we went up in every category. And our principals focused in 2 areas, and those had the most significant changes. And we have our principals here tonight, so we want to thank you, principals. Thank you for all that you've done. But more importantly, our staff. Our staff are the ones that are doing it on a day-to-day basis. They are trying to create a modern learning environment in the facilities that they do have. And so as you pass this around, what you see up here, you'll kind of see where we're at as far as when the buildings were built, when we're going to be at capacity, and when we're going to be over capacity. And so when we go over capacity, we have to make some decisions as a district. And so what the start of this is, and what Mrs. Adams talked about, is we need to build a master facility plan. But we can't do that without your voice. We have to have your voice as a community, as a parent, on the next steps that we're going to make. And so take a look at that data when you start to answer some questions. And then also, Dr. Foltz is going to come up and talk to you a little bit about enrollment. He's the enrollment guru of West Clermont, and he has the numbers.
All right, thank you. Okay. This thing on? I'm glad you guys are here this evening. We love our students, we love our families, and one of the things about you being here is saying that too. And we want West Clermont to be the choice that every parent wants to bring their students.
David, I think you turned your mic off.
I talk loud, so maybe check 1, 2.
Talk. Louder.
There
You gotta swallow it. All right. So here we are. All right. Again, we're happy that you're here. We want parents to choose West Clermont as their district of choice. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the realities of our enrollment. You have this in your packet. What this is we use predictive enrollment analytics. It's changed its names over the more than half a decade we've used them. They are a predictive tool that we use. They come in this year at almost a 97% accuracy rate. They're usually within 97 to 99%, so it's a great predictive tool. Why do I bring this up? Because if you look at that table to the left, you look at our current enrollment, which is 1,853. You look at projected 5 years out, That takes you to 8,653. That is a 500 kid growth. So over the next 5 years, we're expected to grow at least 500 kids, 500 students in our K through 12 elementaries, middle and high school. Our largest growth of that is going to be in our elementary level, 500. Let that sink in. That's an entire elementary building full of kids coming to us that aren't here already. All right, next page. What does that do to classroom space? What you see up here is what we call a heat map. Oh, I've got to turn it myself. Hey, there it is, the heat map. So white, where you see white, that's where we have enough classroom space for our students. Pink is with your out of near capacity, where we're running out of Gen Ed classroom space. And where you see the red, look at the color. The red is where we are out of general education classroom space, where our support staff and specialist classes have been placed on a cart or displaced, and we're not able to serve kids as well as we really would like to. As you can see, there's a lot of red up there, a lot of red. Now, Merwin has purple. Anyone notice Merwin had purple? Yeah. Okay. Well, some of you passed these cute little quaint cottages out front. Those are modulars. There are 3 modulars that house 2 classrooms, each at 6 classrooms. If those modulars were not here, Merwin would be bright red across the board. All right? This does not represent the growth that we see in our special education and our diverse learners that's happening across the district. And this chart does not account for those unique spaces that we need to help serve them properly. So as you can see, we are running out of physical space as our enrollment continues to grow. Still with me? Okay, why is our enrollment growing? Where are they coming from? All right, so the chart that you see, I'm sorry, I'm blocking this whole table here. I know Randy was walking around. The chart that you see on the left is the map of where they represent all of our 7 elementary schools. The red polygons is where new developments are either going up or scheduled to go up in the West Clermont School District. If you look at the top, over the next 5 years, there's going to be a little over 1,100 new dwellings built that's going to potentially house our kids. How many kids do we expect those to house in West Clermont? Close to 1,300. These kids are coming. These places are being grown. People are moving into West Clermont. That's what we want. We want to be that district of choice. But what does this do to space? Think about it. So other factors that impact that we have to consider. Parents have more choice these days. Some are choosing to go to open enrollment to other school districts, public school districts. Some are choosing to go online or private. The Ed Voucher program is expanding. Some are choosing home education. That used to be called homeschooling. It's called home education now. They're choosing to go that route. Transparency throughout the transiency throughout the school year. Last year we had 1,000 students enter and 1,000 students leave West Clermont within that school year. That's roughly 15% of our student population being turned over. Or to put it a different way, 12 enrollment touches in every school day for a kid. It's a lot of people moving in and out of our district, right? All of this impacts space, facilities, and support. Parents have choices. What we want is for them to choose West Clermont. What we want is for you all to continue to choose West Clermont. And so the things that Ellie talked about, things that Randy's talked about, and the things that we're talking about, how do we build that community to continue to choose us, and how are we going to be best prepared to handle all of our students and handle our community so that we continue to be that district? Okay? All right, giving you back to Randy. Giving you back to Randy.
All right, so now the next part, this next activity is going to kind of whet your appetite a little bit on what we're going to be doing with the master facility plan come January. And one of the things that we will need is we will need people to be a part of our CAT, Community Advisory Team, that will be working with us as we develop our master facility plan. The next activity is one that we like to do, and I know that we'll have a lot of conversation as we get into this, because it's going to look at your current realities. It's also going to start to think about what the future is going to be. So our facilitators, this will be the pro and con sheets. The pro and con sheets are all different. Okay? And so what will happen is you're going to get one of these, you're going to pass them out, and then you're going to put the pros and cons of that particular choice. And we're going to be looking at configurations of the school district. You may say, I like what we've got, just fix what we got. Or you may say, we want something different. We want a different configuration. All the sheets have a different configuration that you can say what the pros of that would be and what the cons would be. And so it's going to be rapid fire. You're going to put it down. It's going to be individual, or you can work with a partner, and then you're going to rotate it around as soon as you go. I know you guys like to talk, but we really need you to write down the answers for your pros and cons for this. So here we go. Ready, set, go. And don't get me wrong, you guys can talk. You guys can have discussions about this as well. Again, you want to use the data sheets that Dr. Foltz went over. You want to look at the buildings that we currently have. Look at the data.
He went to get another bulb. He's going to try and steal one out of a projector in another room. So from now on, we bring 2 projectors. Every time. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. You know, 2 projectors. What we should be doing right now is shutting this one down and swapping it. That's what we should be doing with another known good unit. If we can put a projector, we can put a bulb in there and find out it doesn't fix it. But we're not ready for another option, so we should have had a second redundancy.
Well, he also was freaked out. It's so funny. Lauren Powell, who used to be my age, she said, why? She out of the 6 of us, that's the only one. Okay, I will let you know that. I will tell you this.
Doing great.
So that's what I'm saying. This is not being able to
I'm just sitting here like,
That's awesome.
Creating more space.
done. Boom. I said, boom.
Yeah, but you could have a 5, 6.
Hopefully the one's up.
Yeah, oh, that's a
How many hours are on at home? It's not, it's doing pretty good. The lights are on, remember? No. The point is, if you had another projector, you can put a bulb in it and might not fix it. Now your fix is twice as long. If you've got two projectors you know that work when you start, and one of them fails, the other one should fail. Right? The other one should fail. That's actually a better image than we had starting out. That's better than we started the night. You don't have to turn the lights on. Well, let's see what the image looks like after we get to the next slide. Probably. So that's the, yeah, that other bulb is just going so bad. And then that's what it looks like. This is what I see when I walk in the classroom right now. If they can't see what's going on, there's issues like this, they're dim, you can't get whatever. And there's just images all over. So she knows that I get it, but that's her point, is that this is what our folks deal with every day in the classroom. But yeah, that image is better than what we started. It actually, that goes to show you that we don't even realize how bad the images are until we swap the bulb and go, oh. So we walk into a classroom and go, well, I don't understand the problem. It looks fine, because that looked fine. That was so washed out when we put it up there. When I walked out here, that was so washed out. I'm like, that's not okay. That's why we moved it back. We tried to take steps. We'll talk about it later. The streaming home. To the two people watching. We'll talk about it later, but this is exactly what we have to reevaluate, is our grade because we have to make that happen. I can't hear you. Yeah. Well, what we're for these events maybe, but then what about, first of all, laser projectors, but then I'm thinking, I believe that there is a fold-away video wall. It folds up on itself, right, and packs away, and so then you can bring it out and unfold it and hook it up, and it's a video wall. Probably about that size, but it folds up. Pretty impressive.
But they can still interact with
That's figured out for some reason. This ear can't hear you.
That's what you're talking about, transportation.
And even before that, I like collecting all these old, like, especially today's the day, like today's the one day. So I found this one because I wish I walked back, you know, like, yeah, make a blanket. So he texted me like, well, I'm putting all these shirts now. That's funny. That little project. Everybody was over.
How we doing? We on task? We're good? We're good? You need 2 minutes? All right, extend the time, just like in soccer. We got 2 more minutes. Some people just get to keep going. 2 minutes. 2 and 2.
We're not even remotely. They're wired. There's Walnut Hill. Not identical. Correct. Yeah, and this is actually a homeschool community, so we provided them with topic is some drop back to work. So this provides them the opportunity to have those special classes needs, who have competitive teams that are part of the state federation, so they actually get but it is that
All right. Hopefully everyone is still with us. All right, so the next activity that we have, if you guys would pull out this chart on your table, there should be one for each table. And so what I'd like you to do is somebody read to your table what's at the top, because now we're going to start talking about your particular building. We're going to look at the data for your building, the age of your building, the enrollment of your building, and then you're going to start talking about urgency. So the first thing you want to do is just somebody read to your table what's across the top, and then we'll get to the cards. Yeah, well, 1 minute.
We turn the lights on. Turn the lights on.
Better than this, I guess. I will.
Okay. For this next part, you should have a card for each of your buildings. Again, you're in your building. So if you have multiple tables, we should have 3 cards for the Merwin group, 2 cards over here, 1 there, 1, 2, 1. So you're going to take a look at this card. And what you see on the card, you're going to see red, green, and yellow. Pretty self-explanatory. Where does this come from? This comes from building audit that we're doing. We have our impact team going around every building. Our principals and teachers are very creative with a lot of the spaces that they have in their buildings. And so one of the things I will say is that our board meetings each month, we have been doing tours. And so if you want to know a little bit more about this, our next tour will be in January at Holly Hill. So our board meeting follows the tour. And so if you really want to see up close some of the spaces that are on this card, then you'll be able to see that. And so the red, green, yellow is also our OFCC rating as well. And so it kind of gives you where we're at. And so what I need you to do on this activity is you're going to look at your building, take into considerations enrollment, age, and what the next steps are going to be. And then the chart that you just looked at, you're going to place it on that chart. The other piece of this is the urgency. Do you need to tell us this needs to happen today, it should have happened yesterday, or it's really not that urgent? So you're going to circle that at the bottom. Once you do that, we get one from each table, you'll go place it over on the chart, and we'll tape it on the chart. Does that make sense? Be honest. Card. You're going to take the card over and tape it to where you guys decide you're going to put it on this chart. Yeah, you're saying. Got it? No. So first thing you're going to do is look at club height. You're going to say, okay, look at the yellows, look at the problems that we have. Is it low, high? Right, so is this,
That's not us. They brought that over.
right?
Just say, that's the key one.
Yeah, we do. It's very light. You have to go really close.
I'll make sure.
Right there. Right there.
So you're going to
You're hanging, all right.
I have ideas.
about 2 minutes. If you haven't put up your card, make that decision. All right, do I have everybody? Is everybody up here? All right. I feel like we need to go through this real quick so you guys can get an idea of where the room is. So here we go. I'm going to go through this. Dan's up here seeing how much this is going to cost. All right, so we've got Summerside, maintain current building as is. We've got Willowville, always one of them, right in the middle, between current and target. The high school is at target improvements. Then we go over to additions, the WT, Amelia, Clough, and Clough. 2 Cloughs. And then we got a lot of building to do. We got Merwin, Holly Hill, and middle school. 3 oldest buildings, probably not a surprise. So those are what we come up with. Good job, give yourself a round for that. Yes. All right, so the final part of this is we're going into the call to action. Call to action is as we move, as we talked about the master facility plan. The Board of Education hired SHP, architect firm, to come and help us with our master facility plan. We are going to be going through, Charlie's going to go through a few things with you on what the process looks like, and then what you can do to help as far as moving forward. We need to get about 60 people from our community, a part of what we call the CAT, Community Advisory Team, to go through this master facility plan. Master facility planning. And this is very, very important because this is the future. And one of the things about buildings or additions or renovations is that obviously student-centered, we make decisions what's best for students. And so if we want the modern learning environment, we have to make those decisions. But we can't do it by ourselves. We've got to do it as a community. And so we really need your voice. So I'm going to bring Charlie up now, talk to you a little bit about what they're going to do, and introduce some of the people with him, and we'll be done after that.
Thank you so much. All right, I saw the previous speaker, so I'm going to try to speak loud. Thanks so much for the introduction. My name is Charlie Janigan. I'm an architect. I'm one of the owners at SHP. I've got 2 colleagues here. Jeff Barker, raise your hand right there, and Frank Forstoffel, standing up. We are 3 members of a firm who we do master planning for public clients all throughout the state of Ohio, a lot in Butler, Warren, Clermont, and Hamilton counties. We've been around for 122 years. We were founded in 1901. Believe it or not, we put on an addition to this building in 1996. So we worked here in the past, so it'll chuckle good. We work right now. We're working in Milford, West Clermont, a lot of Kings, Sycamore. We worked at Talawanda, so a lot of districts that you may be familiar with, and a lot of athletic competitions that you guys have been part of. Walnut Hills, we did, and so we have about 125 employees, and all day, every day, all of us live in K through 12. So it's kind of we breathe it, eat it, breathe it all day long. So. I'm here to speak about master planning. So master planning for us, we want to create 4 distinct groups that can help filter and make decisions and explore options. And the work you're doing here tonight is very critical. We're cannot wait to get the output of the activities tonight. So this is what we would classify as kind of a targeted stakeholder outreach. So that's that first bucket. You will see more from us. This may be surveying. This may be forums like this. It may be small groups where we meet with parents, special ed or athletic folks who are part of athletic boosters. So that's number one. Number two is obviously with the district. This is the steering team with superintendent, treasurer, curriculum folks, some of the folks you've seen on the microphone tonight who've presented. We would work very close with them, board members. I'm here to talk about number three, which is the community advisory team, the CAT team, or the CAT, if you want to use the acronym. This is a group that is very heavily populated with residents who live here, parents with kids in the school, parents whose kids have moved on and they're in college or they're out of school, senior citizens. We want a very diverse group of constituents to be a part of that. That group will help filter and distill a lot of this information. In a second, I'll show you some of the activities of it. And then last is the kind of a sidebar group, which we will hold. It's called Educational Visioning. This is a group that will debate and think about the future of education. We all know things are changing quickly. You can hardly go anywhere without anyone talking about the impacts of AI or other things in the world. And that group will help explore some of those things and think kind of into the future. How do we want our learning environments to be arranged at West Clermont? So those are kind of our four buckets. We will lead those at groups, and you'll hear in a second kind of a call to action to see if you're interested for signing up to be a part of number three. This is Mrs. Jeff Parker, and he's going to talk about kind of the flow of how we'll go through these.
Thank you, Charlie. It's good to see you all tonight. You've done some hard work. You've had some hard conversations. It's really exciting. As Charlie said, we can't wait to kind of dig into the outcomes of your conversations. But this process is going to take a few months, probably about eight months or so. And the goal is to kind of start out wide, like kind of a funnel, if you will. And then in each step, we're going to narrow down the options, narrow down what the right solutions might be. And Charlie talked about those four groups, right? So the orange arrow, that's what we would refer to as a steering team. They're kind of managing and overseeing the whole process. They're making sure that folks have the information they need when they need it, things about district impacts, impact of transportation, impact on facilities, all those sorts of nuts and bolts things. So they're going to be overseeing the whole process. But then you can see that we've got that community outreach. We're going to be touching base with the community several times through the process. And then we've got educational visioning and the community advisory team. And you can see that blue line, how it kind of waves up and down throughout that timeline. That's meant to imply this kind of dialogue or this conversation that we're going to facilitate between the community advisory team, between the educational visioning team, and the greater West Clermont community. Okay, so we'll come up with ideas as the team, as the community advisory team. Then we'll present those ideas to the broader community. We'll listen. We'll test some of those ideas, and then we'll come back. Okay, and we'll kind of refine and further ideate on solutions. So it's a lengthy process. Each step will get us narrower and narrower until we get to a final solution that will be recommended to the board. Okay. I will say right now, there's no predetermined answer, right? The ideas are going to come out of that community advisory team, and we're looking forward to seeing what those are. This is how that might look from a more kind of month-by-month perspective. Each of the little colored dots are touch points or meetings, if you will. For this to occur, you can see we're going to be starting with educational visioning. We really want the conversation to be about teaching and learning and what's best for kids, and less about brick and mortar, okay? We really want the answers to be driven by what's right for the kids. So that educational visioning will then inform the conversation at the community advisory level and will be reported out to the community stakeholder groups. As Charlie mentioned, we'll have a lot of different opportunities to talk. It will be town halls and forums. It will be text message invitations to take surveys. So we really want to give as many people as we can, as many opportunities as we can to speak into the process. All right?
All right, so 2 more slides. The community advisory team, again, this would be a group that would help steer and navigate, is what Jeff just said, through that funnel to develop a facility master plan, really thinking about education, facilities, finance, and community support. When we focus on those kind of 4 things and have somewhat consensus, we can find a plan that is supportive. So tonight, we're going to ask you guys if you'd like to be a part of that, to fill something out, and I'll get to that in a second. But we want those folks to be dedicated, consistent. We meet probably 4 or 5 times total, a couple times in the spring, a couple times next fall. So these are kind of some initial formats for our meetings. Cat number 1 is inform. What do we have? Kind of what information do we know today? So a lot of the information that we're gathering today would be analyzed and looked at. Number 2, talk about just additional concepts. What about renovating? What about add-ons? We don't know. We'd like to hear from the community. That team would help drive that. From there, kind of evaluate and refine. Whenever we do master plans, I'm amazed that we can come up with 15, 20, so many different ideas. But we got to narrow down to what makes the most sense as far as logistics and operation and cost. And then ultimately, number 4 gets to kind of the recommendation. When we do a facility master plan, the recommendation comes from the community. It's not an administrative recommendation from leadership. It's not an architect's recommendation. This is the community recommended plan. And we find that that's very successful. So I believe there is a handout.
One for everybody.
One for everybody, and we are looking for folks who would like to be a part of some future conversations. Fill that out.
Thanks, Charlie. So, facilitators, if you can give everyone a sheet, there's a couple questions on there. You can just answer those and fill those out. Again, we need people to be a part of the CAT. It is a great process, but it's a community process, and it has to be driven by you. As Charlie said, I want to thank SHP for being here. So once you have filled that out, I want to thank you so much for giving up your time tonight. I will pat myself on the back. We're out of here under 2 hours. So congratulations to you. Great conversation. Thank you for the data. We're going to look at that, and we will be posting that, and you'll be able to see that, because this is very, very important to us as we move forward. The future of West Clermont is in your hands, and we're going to develop that over the next 12 months. So we fill out those cards. Also, on your way out, please pick up a bag, a parting gift for you as you are leaving. Once again, thank you guys. Thank you for being here tonight.